Aries Weekly Horoscope September 8th to 14th Traps, Betrayals and Path to Triumph 2025. Welcome back, my fiery Aries souls. Whether you've been here for months, years, or you just stumbled into this channel by cosmic accident, I'm grateful to have you. I'm speaking today not just as an astrologer, but as someone who's spent decades studying the Zodiac, observing psychology in everyday life, and listening closely to how the wisdom of ancient traditions like Buddhism echoes in our modern struggles. And trust me, Aries, if there's one sign that never experiences life in low volume, it's you. Life doesn't politely knock on your door. For you, it throws a brick at the window, yells your name, and dares you to run barefoot across the field to catch up. And somehow, you do. This week of September 8th through September 14th is painted with paradox. On the surface, it feels like the universe is tossing contradictory instructions your way. One moment it hands you courage, the next it whispers, slow down. One day it fuels you with vitality, the next it pushes you into exhaustion. One person offers a smile, but behind that smile may linger a shadow. It's a week that could feel like a comedy of errors written by Shakespeare, where betrayal doesn't always look grand and dramatic, it sometimes just looks like someone forgetting to return your text. But don't misunderstand me. This isn't a week of punishment. It's a week of refinement. If you happen to be one of the chosen ones, then consider these days your cosmic training camp. A rehearsal for the year of triumph 2025. Every misstep, every flickering light, every cracked mask, it's all part of a curriculum that shapes you into someone sharper, wiser, and more resilient. Aries energy has always been a study in contradictions, and as someone who has spent a lifetime examining the cycles of the Zodiac, I can tell you that no sign embodies paradox quite like you. You are the trailblazer, the scout who charges into battle before the dust has even settled, the one who sees a closed door and immediately tests the hinges rather than waiting for someone else to find the key. That courage has propelled you forward countless times, often making you the first to seize opportunities while others are still hesitating on the sidelines. But this week, that same daring impulse could become your greatest vulnerability. Imagine you are scrolling through your inbox and an email flashes across the screen. Congratulations! You've won a free luxury cruise. Most signs would squint, suspect foul play, and maybe even laugh at the absurdity. You, on the other hand, would already be halfway to the airport with your suitcase zipped, convinced destiny has just handed you a vacation. This optimism and speed are admirable, even endearing, but they also set the stage for trouble when illusions are carefully crafted to catch you off guard. The truth is that traps often come dressed as opportunities. They don't always announce themselves with flashing lights or sinister undertones. Sometimes they look like a coworker's too perfect proposal, a friend's well-meaning but self-serving advice, or a partner insisting everything is fine when their behavior quietly says otherwise. This is where discernment becomes essential. Psychologists would call this a week of cognitive dissonance, where two conflicting voices compete inside you. Your instincts scream, go, while your intuition whispers, wait. The real challenge is whether you can pause long enough to give your intuition the microphone before your impulsive nature storms the stage. From the Buddhist lens, this is a lesson in the middle path. Fire is the Aries birthright, but fire is neither inherently good nor bad, it simply is. It can warm a home, provide light, and sustain life, or it can scorch fields and reduce dreams to ashes. The wisdom lies in knowing which flame to nurture and which spark to let fizzle out. In other words, it is not about smothering your fire, it is about guiding it with intention. Humorously put, sometimes the greatest victory for Aries is resisting the urge to sprint when the universe is clearly setting up a marathon. Now we come to a heavier theme, one that Aries often struggles with precisely because of your bold confidence: betrayal. Few words strike the Aries heart with as much force. You pride yourself on courage, on a radar that can detect danger and dishonesty long before it reaches you. So when someone manages to slip past that radar, the pain cuts deeper than simple disappointment. It feels humiliating, as though your very identity as a warrior and a truth seeker has been mocked. It is not just that you were hurt, it is that you did not see it coming. Yet, here lies another paradox. Betrayal, as sharp as it feels, is also revelation. When dishonesty emerges, it rips the mask away and reveals the true face beneath. Painful, yes, but also liberating. Think of a gardener pruning a tree. Cutting away dead branches is never pretty, yet it makes space for healthier growth. The same applies here. Perhaps it is a co-worker withholding vital information and leaving you exposed. Perhaps it is a friend who turns your private confession into brunch entertainment. Perhaps it is a partner whose cracks in honesty can no longer be ignored. Each instance is a cut, but each cut brings clarity. In Buddhist teaching, suffering is not punishment, it is a doorway. To let the mask fall, to finally stop clinging to the illusion of who you thought someone was, is painful but profoundly freeing. The falsehoods break away, and you are left with something truer, leaner, and more solid. That person wasn't who you believed them to be, and now, instead of clinging to the illusion, you can redirect your loyalty, your time, and your fierce energy toward people and pursuits that truly honor you. Aries, your gift is that you never stay down for long. Yes, betrayal burns. Yes, traps can catch you off guard. But you are the sign of fire and rebirth, of forging new paths when old ones collapse. And often, the very moments you resent most, the humiliations, the letdowns, the slammed doors, are the ones that carve you into someone sharper, wiser, and infinitely harder to deceive next time. Life may test you with these contradictions, but as always, you rise, sometimes singed, sometimes laughing at your own impulsive leaps, but always moving forward with that unmistakable Aries fire that refuses to be extinguished. Aries, one of the strangest paradoxes you will face this week is the way exhaustion and vitality arrive together, like two unexpected house guests who insist on sharing the same couch. It is the curious feeling of being completely drained and simultaneously buzzing with energy, as though life has placed you in a marathon where you are required to juggle flaming torches while running uphill. It is chaotic, overwhelming, even absurd at times, and yet, strangely exhilarating. Psychologists call this the stress performance curve, the principle that a little tension sharpens you, but too much will grind you down until you are a husk of your usual fiery self. The challenge for you, Aries, is to find that sweet spot, that delicate balance where tension pushes you into peak performance without tipping you into burnout. Think of it like seasoning a dish. A pinch of salt brings out the flavor, but dump the whole box in and you ruin the meal. Now, let us talk about the dreaded word you dislike more than most: rest. To your ears, rest often sounds like surrender. It feels like wasted time when you could be conquering mountains, chasing opportunities, or proving yet again that you can outpace anyone. But hear me clearly, rest is not weakness, it is strategy. Even the greatest warrior knows the value of retreat. A general who fights every battle without pause soon has no army left. A wise one steps back, regroups, and then marches forward stronger. For you, Aries, a nap is not laziness, it is sharpening the blade for the next challenge. The paradox is that sometimes the most productive act you can perform is lying down and doing nothing. In a culture that worships constant action, this is radical, almost rebellious. From a Buddhist perspective, this truth is ancient. Balance arises not from relentless striving, but from knowing when to pause, breathe, and let the storm of the mind settle. And speaking of storms, endings often arrive with thunder for you. Other signs may quietly close a chapter, tuck the book back on the shelf, and sip tea in silence. You slam the book shut so loudly the neighbor's dog starts barking. You light a metaphorical torch, deliver a dramatic farewell, and stride out the door with the conviction of someone who knows they deserve better. It is not that you seek drama for its own sake, it is that your fire refuses to dim quietly. But here is the wisdom in it: endings are not failures, they are edits. They are life's way of saying, this chapter has served its purpose, now make space for the next. Walking away when something no longer nourishes you is not defeat, it is self-respect. And that is a quality no one can strip from you. What you may not realize, Aries, is that time has a mischievous way of transforming heartbreak into comedy if you let it. The relationships or projects that once felt like heavy losses can eventually become punchlines in your personal stand-up routine. Instead of brooding, "I wasted years with this liar," you might one day grin and shrug, "Well, at least I didn't waste more years." Your humor, often underestimated, is your secret weapon. It turns endings into beginnings, failures into stories worth retelling, and grief into resilience disguised as laughter. In a sense, your fire becomes not destructive but creative, burning away the unnecessary so something new can rise from the ashes. And here is where the universe surprises you. Amid the chaos, guidance appears often when you least expect it. A mentor, a guide, or simply a wise voice may step in with a compass when you are certain you have lost your way. This mentor may not arrive wrapped in ceremonial robes or sit you down for a lecture. Sometimes it is subtler. A colleague's offhand comment, a stranger's advice on a train, a line in a book that falls into your lap at precisely the right time. These moments, seemingly random, are the universe's whispers, reminding you that direction is always available if you listen closely enough. Astrologically, this is the classic breakthrough after the breakdown. Psychologically, it is the reframing moment when the storm clouds part and perspective shifts. Spiritually, it echoes the Buddhist truth: suffering does not end when the storm disappears, suffering ends when you stop clinging to the broken branch, when you finally let go and realize your hands are free to plant a new seed. The exhaustion you feel is not proof of weakness, it is the body and soul signaling the need for recalibration. The vitality that follows is proof that once you allow release, the energy to rebuild comes rushing back. So if you feel lost this week, Aries, pay attention. The universe does not always shout, it prefers to whisper. It may send guidance in the form of a sign on a billboard you almost ignored, a slip-up that reveals exactly what you should avoid, or even the simple wisdom that comes from laughter in the middle of your own chaos. The paradox of exhaustion and vitality, the drama of endings, and the appearance of mentors are not disconnected threads, they weave together into a single truth: you are being shaped, sharpened, and guided, even in the moments you feel most uncertain. Trust the process, honor your rest, embrace your humor, and remember that every ending is not just closure, but also the clearing of space for something new, something truer, to take root. When we step back and place this week into the larger arc of your story, Aries, we begin to see it less as a punishment and more as preparation. For those of you who sense you are among the chosen ones, understand that the struggles, the false starts, and even the chaos of this moment are not meant to weaken you but to sharpen you. The cosmos is tempering your edges for the year of triumph 2025, a time when all these rehearsals will pay off. And make no mistake, this is rehearsal. Anyone who has ever stood on a stage knows rehearsals are messy, lines are forgotten, props collapse, the director shouts contradictory instructions from the wings, and everyone wonders if the show will ever come together. Yet, when the curtain finally rises on opening night, it is precisely those messy rehearsals that allow the performance to shine. So do not curse the confusion you face right now, Aries. Do not resent the exhaustion. Instead, see this as your training montage, the cinematic stretch where the hero earns scars, gains grit, and builds the strength necessary to step into the spotlight. But here is the twist: without humor, Aries, you would combust halfway through this process. You are, in many ways, the comedian of your own tragedies, the one who can find absurdity in the most serious of moments. Picture this scenario: your phone buzzes with a message that says, "I have a secret opportunity for you, don't tell anyone." Most signs would hesitate, maybe make a pot of coffee before responding. You, however, would already have packed a bag, booked a ticket, and be halfway across town before realizing the opportunity is just a pyramid scheme to sell vitamins in bulk. It is your speed and enthusiasm that make you lovable, but also occasionally the butt of your own jokes. The lesson here is not to dampen that energy but to temper it. Slow down, ask questions, and maybe just maybe wait until after your morning coffee before signing on the dotted line. Your humor, Aries, is alchemy. It transforms chaos into campfire stories, betrayal into wisdom, exhaustion into evidence of resilience. It is a survival strategy and a gift to those around you, because when you laugh at your own missteps, you give others permission to laugh at theirs. The ability to smile in the middle of difficulty is not denial, it is mastery. It says, "Yes, I fell, but I fell with style." So what should you actually do with all of this energy swirling around you? Let's distill it into a simple roadmap. First, pause before leaping. Double-check what you are told, and make sure actions align with promises. Second, protect your energy. Your vitality is powerful, but it is not endless. Rest is not wasted time, it is the fuel that will keep you conquering in the long run. Third, embrace endings. If something unravels this week, do not treat it as a failure. It is not a collapse but an overdue edit in your life story. Fourth, stay alert for guidance. Mentors do not always appear in robes or give long lectures. They may show up as a stranger's remark, a book in your hands, or even a mistake that teaches you precisely what not to do. And finally, keep your humor alive. Turn mistakes into anecdotes. Laugh at the absurd. That is how you win, even in the middle of loss. Now, the bigger picture. This week is not just about dodging traps or surviving betrayals. It is about claiming your role as the scout of the Zodiac, the pioneer who goes first and shows others the way. When you navigate betrayal with dignity, you demonstrate resilience. When you find clarity despite fatigue, you model persistence. These lessons ripple outward, influencing more people than you realize. Every scar you earn this week becomes part of the armor you will wear proudly in the year of triumph 2025. Rehearsals are always messy, but they are the foundation of greatness. This week may not feel like the easiest chapter of your story, but Aries, since when have you ever been interested in the easy road? You are the first sign of the Zodiac for a reason. Your role is to embody raw courage, to blaze trails where others hesitate. The masks will fall, the traps will appear, and some doors will close. But your vitality, your humor, and your wisdom will carry you forward. So laugh at the absurdities when they arrive. Rest when your body demands it. Trust the guide when it shows up, even if it wears an unlikely disguise. And above all, savor the journey. Because life is not only about triumphs, it is also about the joy of living fully, about finding meaning in both the storms and the stillness. That, Aries, is your message for the week. If it resonates, continue to walk this path with us. Like, share, and subscribe to Zodiac Talks Tarot, where we keep exploring not only the stars, but the psyche and the wisdom that makes life not just survivable, but extraordinary.